everyone, welcome back. For those of you that are new here, my name's Kate and today we've got another book review for you. Before we get started, I just want to apologise for the sweat. It's like 1,000,000 degrees here in the UK and I got pinged by the NHS test and trace stat. So I have not been outside my house for days, about 7 days now. So I get free on Wednesday, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Hoping that this goes up the day that the TV programme for this book is airing as well in the UK. I know it's already aired in the US, so no spoilers please on UK time with it. I'm not doing US time, if that makes sense. Okay, so into the video, as you're probably now wondering what on earth I'm talking about. So today I'm going to be doing two books for you, a 2-for-1 special. We're doing the Gilead book, so the Handmaids Tale and the Testaments by Margaret Atwood. So, as I said, I've been wanting to do these for a while, and I've been trying to do these for a while. I wanted to try and do it and put it up today to coincide with the Handmaid's Tale. I think we're on episode 5 of the, or maybe episode 6. No, we're on episode 5 of series 4. So hopefully that goes up tonight in the UK, so hopefully this will be the day after that, I think, if I've got my days right. I'm really bad with knowing when it's on, I just watch it on all 4. Anyway, enough with that. So the Handmaid's Tale, I'm going to start with that. Like I did for the other Bennett sister, I'm just going to assume, and for some of the Marion Keyes ones, I'm just going to assume that you know what I'm talking about. So there are going to be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want any spoilers, then you've probably been living under a rock, but please turn off now. I will do a timestamp for this below. So hopefully we've lost anyone who doesn't want any spoilers, and on with the Handmaid's Tale. So yeah, I'm going to start with the Handmaid's Tale. So this came out in the 80s, and I just want to say that it's still very depressing that a lot of things in this are still happening today, and like I feel like we're moving closer to the world of Gilead than further away from it, which is very, very depressing. But anyway, so the Handmaid's Tale is set in a dystopian future. So the United States of America, or what it was, has been overthrown by a military coup and turned into the new nation of Gilead, which is all based off of the Old Testament in the Bible, obviously. And so in Gilead, there's very strict rules on things. Women do not have a lot of freedom. People in general don't have much freedom, but women especially don't have much freedom. They become property of men and not even their husbands. So if you are of a certain age and you are fertile and you are unmarried, or what they deem to be unmarried, so divorce is illegal in Gilead. So even if you've been divorced for many, many years and remarried in the US, as it was, that doesn't count anymore in Gilead. So that's where we pick up the story with Offred. So Offred is what is known as a handmaid, as you all know. So a handmaid is basically a vessel for having a child for a more prominent family, I guess. And it's just awful. It's basically, well, it's rape. It's just awful. I honestly cannot imagine how awful that must be. So a handmaid loses her name. She doesn't even have her own name. She becomes of whoever the commander's house she's in. So when we meet her, she is in, or she's just about to join the Waterford house? Commander Waterford. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I forgot that for a moment. So she's in the commander's house. So I'm going to go off the back now to try and reduce the amount of spoilers and the length of this video. The Republic of Gilead basically offers 2 options for women, like Offred, who we know in the TV series as June, to breed or be sent to the wall and hanged. That's basically all her life is. And so I guess we should probably go back, because at some point in the future, at some point in the past, before we get to Gilead, and pick up where we are. Something has happened in the world to make the birth rate fall. So anyone who is fertile and can have a child is a desirable thing, or any woman who is fertile and can have a child is desirable. However, they're desirable in a certain way. They're not desirable on their own. They're only desirable if they can have children for these more prominent families who are known as commanders. So each commander, if they don't have children or can't have children or whatever, get assigned a handmaid to keep having children for these prominent families. So ridiculous. Anyway, I feel like I'm not going to talk about the back. Sorry, I've just read the back and I just think it's kind of, again, reducing this book down to a love triangle between two men. Basically, we obviously know that Offred/June falls in love with Nick. So, and this is her journey with the commander as well. So The Handmaid's Tale is the first series of the TV show. I feel like I haven't explained this very well. I'm doing like a real roundabout talk about it. So basically, every month when Offred/June is fertile, she is forced to take part in a ceremony where she basically is raped by the commander. But he doesn't find it easy to get turned on by that, so he has to get to know her more. And there's all this kind of undercurrent of stuff that goes on. And yeah, The Handmaid's Tale is basically Offred/June's journey at the Waterford's house and her eventual escape and her desire and her relationship with Nick, as well as her relationship with Commander Waterford and Serena. Now, I just want to say that Serena and Commander Waterford are very different in the book to who they are in the TV show. So they're a bit older. And I don't know, I really enjoyed the TV show of this. Like, the first series was really good. And actually, subsequent ones have been just as good, actually, I think. But the book, I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy it. I found it a really hard read. So I read it for the first time in the first lockdown. It was something about it, like, in the time before that I really wanted to read. Like, Offred says a lot in the time before when she's reminiscing about the way things were before Gilead became a thing. And yeah, something about that just really resonated with me, I guess, at the time. That's what I wanted to read. Although I found it a really hard slog to read it. I don't know, like, I just found it a really, really hard slog to read. I found it a really hard read. I mean, I got through it, I persevered, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I've read it, but oh my god, it was a really, really hard read. Then we skip to almost, well, over 30 years later, because this came out in 2019 and that was 87. So what's that? 33-ish, 31-ish years later? Something like that, 32-ish years later. We get the Testaments. And the Testaments is really interesting. So it picks up from where the TV show kind of leaves off, or from where the TV show has continued the story of Gilead and the Handmaid's Tale. And we learn a lot more about the beginnings of Gilead and the goings on in Gilead and the workings of Gilead. So it's told from the perspective of three characters. It's got 3 point of view characters. One of them is Aunt Lydia. So again, sorry, this is spoilers. So anyone who doesn't want spoilers, turn off now. So Aunt Lydia is one. Baby Holly or Baby Nicole, whatever you want to call her, is another. And then Hannah is the third. So it's June, Offred's children, and Aunt Lydia. So we learn about what Aunt Lydia was doing before, which is different to what she was doing in the TV show before. We learn about Baby Nicole / Holly's life in Canada and how she's been kept safe all this time. We also learn about Hannah's life growing up in Gilead, what that's been like for her growing up there, and what her kind of mentality is towards it all, because all three of them eventually end up in Gilead at one point or another, and it's really interesting to obviously see Nicole Holly's take on it, because she's never been in this situation before. And then also on the flip side of that, Hannah ends up in Canada, and like something that really kind of stuck with me was there's a scene in the book where Hannah has to wear trousers for the first time in her life on her escape from Gilead, and she's thinking how hard that would have been to do in a skirt, and that's why trousers are easier. And that's just so insane. And she talks about things like covering her hair as well so that men don't get turned on, and it's so insane, this logic that women have to change themselves to not turn men on, like men can't control themselves. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, but if men are that easily turned on by women's hair or whatever else, then why the hell are they leading countries? I mean, I do genuinely think that anyway, aside from the book. So yeah, we get a much better understanding, a much better look at Gilead. And Aunt Lydia's chapters are particularly interesting because they talk about what she was doing before the changeover. So in the time where the coup had happened, and then like getting things established as Gilead, how she becomes an aunt, and kind of what she learns and what she knows about the people of Gilead. And then Hannah's point of view as well, kind of those two stories link up the most. And then obviously Nicole / Holly is quite separate in America, or in Canada even. So it's really interesting. I much preferred reading about those three characters, and I much preferred the Testament. It was a much easier read for me. So I bought this book, this chunky book, this brick of a book, when I was going on holiday. The last holiday I went on before COVID, the end of 2019. So I bought this book on my way on holiday, and it wouldn't fit in my hand luggage or in my case because I was just going away for a weekend. And I had to like walk around like holding it. I'm sure everyone thought I was like showing off or something, but I literally couldn't fit it in any of my bags. So I just ended up starting to read it because I was carrying it around. And oh my god, I was hooked. Honestly, I went on holiday with my friend and I was probably such a bad companion because I was just hooked on this book. Just spent any like downtime we had when we weren't sightseeing and stuff just reading, because I was just hooked. Like almost the opposite to how I felt with The Handmaid's Tale. Like The Handmaid's Tale was a slog, whereas The Testaments was a sprint. Like I could not get through it fast enough. I was hooked. It's such a much easier read, and it's such an interesting read. I think having obviously, we were at the point, I think we must have been on season 3, I guess, if we're now on season 4 of this TV series. So with 3 series in, we kind of we already have that connection with Gilead, because this book does take into account some of the things that have happened in the TV show. So we're already there, and to kind of find out more about it, like I find that really interesting whenever there's kind of a dystopian world or something. Like I find it really interesting. I always want to know what's happening in that world or how it came to be. So Aunt Lydia's chapters for me were particularly interesting, and I think also learning from from Hannah's point of view, what it's like as a girl growing up in Gilead was really interesting as well. So all in all, like they're both really good books and completely worth the read. But The Testaments is a much easier read, and I'd say it's much better, and just, yeah. Like the first TV show does the book. I would say you don't necessarily need to read that. However, it is up to you. So that was it for this week, guys. I hope you liked my video. Hopefully this actually makes it up, fingers crossed. Please do like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out and means a lot to me, and I will see you next week.